Last time, Lucas returned to the gray world to find a weapon against the darkness. He climbed the mountain of echoes, where the rocks whisper secrets to confuse the brave. By using his quiet nature to listen, Lucas found the hidden light sword deep inside a star-shaped cave. Though the Shadow King tried to trap him in fog, Lucas used the sword's golden glow to break free. Now, armed with light and his magic pillow, the Dream Walker is ready for his final mission. Welcome to Magic Pillow. Tonight's story is, Chapter 3 of The Dream Walker has returned. The air in the Cloud Kingdom had grown colder. Lucas and Barnaby stood at the edge of the great gray plains, looking toward the horizon. In the distance, the Shadow King's castle loomed like a jagged tooth made of frozen smoke. Dark purple lightning flickered around its tallest towers. "This is as far as I can go, Dream Walker," Barnaby said, his voice trembling slightly. "The shadows are too thick for a forest dweller like me." Lucas looked at his small friend and then at the dark fortress ahead. He felt the weight of the light sword at his side and the warmth of the magic pillow in his arms. Lucas took a deep breath. "I'm not afraid, Barnaby," he said softly. He stepped out onto the open plains, where the ground felt like cold ash. Every time his feet touched the earth, a small spark of golden light flickered from his boots. He wasn't just walking toward a castle, he was walking toward the end of the darkness. As Lucas approached the castle, the wind began to howl. The massive gates were not made of wood or iron, but of swirling, thick black smoke. Every time Lucas tried to step forward, the smoke pushed him back like a heavy wall. He could hear the Shadow King's laughter echoing from the towers above. Lucas didn't try to push through with force. Instead, he held the light sword out in front of him. The golden blade hummed, and where the light touched the smoke, the darkness began to part. It was like a curtain being pulled back by an invisible hand. With a steady heart, Lucas walked through the opening. The inside of the castle was a maze of gray halls and shifting shadows. He kept one hand on his magic pillow, letting its silver star guide him through the gloom. He was inside the heart of the darkness now, and the real challenge was just beginning. Lucas climbed a long, winding staircase that seemed to be made of shadows. At the very top, he entered a wide, circular room with no windows. In the center of the room, floating in the air, was a cage made of thick gray fog. Inside the cage sat the Queen of the Cloud Kingdom. She looked very tired, and her dress, which should have been a vibrant blue, was now a dull, dusty gray. When she saw Lucas, her eyes filled with hope. "The Dream Walker," she whispered, her voice sounding like a soft breeze. "You've come so far, but be careful. The king is watching." Lucas ran toward the cage, but the air suddenly turned ice cold. The floor beneath him began to shake, and the shadows on the walls grew taller and taller. He realized the cage wasn't just holding the queen. It was a trap designed to catch him, too. He had to act quickly before the darkness closed in. A tall figure of swirling smoke and purple eyes rose from the floor. It was the Shadow King. "You are just a small, quiet boy," he hissed, his voice like cold wind. "You cannot stop the darkness." The king waved his hand, making the room feel heavy and freezing. For a second, Lucas felt tiny and afraid. He remembered the noisy world back home and felt like giving up. But then, his magic pillow pulsed with warmth. He realized that being quiet was his greatest strength. Lucas looked up at the king and stood tall. He wasn't just a boy anymore, he was the Dream Walker. The Shadow King lunged forward, but Lucas was ready. He held the light sword high in his right hand and the magic pillow in his left. "I am quiet, but I am not weak," Lucas shouted. The silver star on the pillow began to spin, and the golden blade of the sword hummed louder than ever. The two lights began to swirl together, mixing gold and silver into a brilliant, swirling vortex. The Shadow King recoiled, shielding his eyes as the room began to glow. The darkness couldn't stand the heat of Lucas's courage. The gray fog around the queen's cage started to crack and crumble. Lucas slammed the light sword into the ground. A massive explosion of rainbow light burst from the point of contact. It wasn't just yellow or silver anymore, it was every color imaginable. The rainbow light hit the Shadow King like a tidal wave. He let out one final, frustrated howl before dissolving into thin air. The dark clouds of the castle began to evaporate. The gray cage around the queen shattered into 1,000 pieces. She stepped out, her dress instantly turning a brilliant, royal blue. "You did it, Lucas," she said, her voice full of music. The rainbow light didn't stop at the tower walls. It rushed across the plains like a giant wave of wet paint. Everywhere the light touched, the gray world vanished. The grass snapped back to a vibrant green, and flowers popped open in bright reds and yellows. The sky turned from a dusty gray to a deep, beautiful blue. Even the trees began to dance in a warm, gentle breeze. Break time equals 0. 5s/. Lucas watched as the kingdom woke up from its long, dark sleep. Birds began to sing again, and the air smelled like spring rain. The Cloud Kingdom was finally whole, and it was all because of one quiet boy. The queen placed a hand on Lucas's shoulder. "The kingdom is safe because of you, Dream Walker," she smiled. Lucas felt the world around him begin to soften and glow. He gave Barnaby one last wave before the colors swirled into a gentle white light. Lucas blinked and found himself back in his own bed. The morning sun was streaming through his window, and the birds in Oak Haven were singing just like the ones in the Cloud Kingdom. He reached for his pillow. It was soft and quiet once more. Downstairs, his family was laughing and clattering breakfast plates. Lucas got up, feeling a secret strength in every step. He didn't need a sword to be brave today. He was the boy who saved the colors, and his story was just beginning. The story has ended, and the night is calm. Thank you for joining us on Magic Pillow. Snuggle up, close your eyes, and let your dreams take you to magical places. Sweet dreams, and good night.